Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Okay, in this lecture we will cover some characteristics of construction projects, and the learning objectives are going to be to kind of get an understanding of the impact of construction industry on the national growth, especially in India. Look at the project stakeholders, who are the players who actually participate in the project and what they get out of the project. Look at the phases of a project. Okay, this is a very important part. Organization. How is a project organized and what are the aspects of project organization, and then finally we start getting into scheduling and understanding what does a scheduling engineer do, what are the levels of scheduling, and this will then lead us to the more focused part of what we start from lecture 3 on the concepts of scheduling. So let us get started on the first objective. If we look at the national GDP, you can kind of see the blue line. We have been since around 2002 we have actually been on this part, which is really skyrocketing upwards. Okay, so this is the GDP, and around here we have been skyrocketing upwards. Now if you take this GDP pattern and overlay it with the growth of the construction share in the GDP, so when you go back we are close to $1.8 trillion, and you will see the share of the construction industry has also been rising, and we are at nearly 8% of the GDP, which is a very high value. Okay, so basically when we look at our economy and we are saying that this is the contribution of the construction industry, which means that we are a very important industry to the nation. Now it is not just from the GDP percentage. If you look at what we are going to be in 2020. So this is a very interesting graph, which are you exposed to this graph before? No? Okay, so it is something which you want to be able to look at, and this is one reason why there is so much of interest in India. If you look at, so this is it's called a population pyramid. Okay, and basically what you have on the right on each bar, so as you go up you have different age groups. So you have for example 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14 different age groups as you go up, and you have the population of people in this case in India and China it is in millions. Okay, it is actually in million people, okay, population, and as you can see the green bar represents the number of people in the age group 0 to 4, the yellow bar 5 to 9. So when you look at this graph, what is the pattern you see? What makes India attractive as a place to invest in the future?
You to 60. No, more of you.
Yes, it says that there is a very young. So a population pyramid which is shaped this way means older people on top are fewer, younger people are more. Okay, population pyramid which is this way means what? What does it mean to the economy of the country? Population is not necessarily decreasing, it's a increasing older age population. Okay, you can see in Japan's case, okay, it's almost the older population is actually in some cases you can see the 45, 50 is more than the younger population. What does this mean in the future of the country? Let us say take it another 20 years, what does it mean?
So the working people,
yes, the people who can generate revenue for the country will, people who are living who are unable to generate are more than the people who are able to generate if it is an inverted pyramid, in which case it is not a very good sign for the country. There is fundamentally something wrong. Okay, so you will find that right now India is among all of these, you can see India is in a very healthy reasonable pyramid, but you can actually go to the web and project these for future and you will find how the population changes. This is only for 2020. Okay, you can see China, it has because of their population policies they have it is a varying population. You can see some of the African countries have almost a very classic pyramid. it is a real well pyramidal shape, but of course populations are much lower. Okay, you can see so the right side shows the female population, the left side shows the male population. Okay, so graphs like this are used to project what is going to be the situation in a country from economic perspective, from growth perspective, from development perspective, because finally it's population which drives the whole issue. Okay, any questions or clarifications on this, observations? Okay, if we now go to this concept that to support this population we need infrastructure development. So whether we like it or not, okay, for that, I mean, unless we develop infrastructure, our people are simply not going to be able to sustain just living a reasonable quality of life. So when you go into infrastructure you will find, okay, you are familiar with this, we need roads, we need several thousands of kilometers of roads, we need ports for a trade, we need airports. Okay, and you will be seeing, how many new airports are being built today?
In almost
all tier 2 cities, even major cities, Mumbai International, Dial just got completed very successfully, one of the largest airports. Mumbai International Airport, Chennai is under construction, Hyderabad just got constructed, Bangalore was over and now they are going for phase 2. You go into the tier 2 cities, all over there are airports being constructed. So what used to be basically a runway and a very small airport building where you came in and passed through is becoming a commercial center today. Okay, you take any of these things. If I go back to ports, okay, large amount of port development activities. We are a coastal nation. There is a lot of opportunity. Why are neighbors who are much smaller being able to capitalize on port trade much more than we are? Because we do not have, so say a country like Singapore has a capacity, has much larger capacity for port activity than India for its size. How do we even compete with that? Or we have the potential to do so, and we really need development in these kind of regions. Okay, I go back to roads, same story, whether it is national highways or rural roads. Without you, I mean, you have seen how much difference a road makes to a area. The minute you have transportation infrastructure, the area develops. The minute the area, and then the quality of life goes up, literacy goes up, everything else goes up. So for national development, all these kind of infrastructure is very critical. Let us continue. So we looked at general, mostly transportation infrastructure, but if you look at urban population, you can see here, okay, you can look at, so China is still the most populous country in the world, but somewhere people expect India to overtake China, and we will be the largest population with a reasonably good pyramidal distribution. So there is a lot we need to do to be able to capitalize on that. Okay, and another trend you see, if you look at the rural population versus the urban, okay, as we go forward in time, the rural population will drop and the urban population is what is going to, people are going to move from rural to urban areas. These are trends which you see. Now basically what is the expectation out of this trend? So you are looking at 2020, 2030, all of you are in your peak of your career at that stage, right? You are going to have more urban population than rural population, or a significantly larger urban population. What is the impact? Need for infrastructure, okay, all kinds of infrastructure. So again, just re-emphasizing this urban infrastructure part. Okay, so here just look at some of these comparisons. We have we'll have 13, so population goes up from, goes to 590, and we'll have 13 cities with more than 4 million people. Okay, out of which 6 will have more than 10 million people. Okay, we'll have 55 cities with more than 1 million. The US only has 9 cities with more than 1 million. We'll have 55, and you can see that again the trend is that urban population is going to increase, and this is a totally, it's infrastructure at a national level, dams, roads, is one thing, urban infrastructure is another very big area of development. So we need real estate, urban infrastructure, and you are experiencing that today. All kinds of infrastructure is being built, from Chennai metro to whether it's IT buildings or commercial buildings or housing projects, water supply systems. Okay, but we cannot ignore rural infrastructure, because still a lot of our population is going to be in a rural area. Quality of life there is also very important, but the needs are slightly different. You are going to have sanitation projects, housing projects, more of rural housing, irrigation, rural roads, all of this. So all of this is